Now that we've got our data in our Gmail, what we want to do now is import it into Google Sheets so that we can plot the graph and do the analysis that we want to do. Follow along with the instructions here. Please don't get ahead of me though. I'm going to click on the email that I see in my email here, scroll down, and I should see a file that says exportedData.csv. I want to hover over that, and when I do, I should see two options. One is to download, and then one is to save to drive. I want to click Save to Drive. When I click Save to Drive on that exportedData.csv, it gives me a number of different options, different folders. You can see that I've already created a folder called A Lab Data. I want you to create a folder, call it whatever you want, but some folder where you can put your data where you'll be able to find your data. If you end up just saving it to your Google Drive in a random place, you may never be able to find it, and you may not be able to do your analysis because of that. So create a folder, know where to find it. Mine's called A Lab Data. When I click on that, scroll down, I'm going to click Move. Now when I go to My Drive, click on A Lab Data, I should find my exportedData.csv. Now before you do anything with that, let's rename it. The reason I want you to rename it is because the next time you do an activity, you're going to get a file that's called the exact same thing, exported data. And if you have two files called exported data, you're not going to know which one to use for your activity next time. So let's rename this, right-click it, rename, let's call it Constant Velocity Lab. Click OK. So there's my file, Constant Velocity Lab.csv. Now what I want you to do is to go into Google Classroom. In Google Classroom, I want you to click on your class, which is Physics 20, and I want you to click on the Constant Velocity Lab that should appear at the top. Click Open. This is the lab. Now, what you want to do at this point is create, not add. You want to create a sheet. That's going to be where you do your graph, import your data, create your graph. That's going to appear in just a moment here. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. There you go. You're also going to create a document. That's where you're going to actually write up your lab and copy your graph into. So now I've got both things that I need to create. Once you've got your spreadsheet and your document created, you're going to click on the sheet, the spreadsheet. It should be titled Constant Velocity Lab, and then your first name and your last name. Now you're going to go over here to File, Import. Now, where do I find that file that I want to import? Under A Lab Data, because I was organized and I knew where I put it. So click on A Lab Data. There it is, Constant Velocity Lab. Let's select that. Now it's going to give you some options. It's very important that you pick Append Rows to Current Sheet. Okay, the default is Create New Spreadsheet. You don't want to do that. You want to append rows to current sheet and make sure it says Detect Automatically down here. Click Import. In just a moment, you're going to see a whole bunch of data here, including acceleration, sound level, sound intensity. You don't want most of that. So let's delete what we don't want. Let's go up here and highlight these columns. Right-click it, delete them. Let's highlight these columns as well. Right-click and delete. The only two columns you want to be left with are time and position. There's your data. Now, when it comes time to actually writing up your lab, the easiest way to do that is to highlight this table, copy it over. But don't do that yet, because you notice at the bottom here, there's some data points that are irrelevant. Maybe the motion sensor wasn't picking up the car towards the end of it. That's okay. Okay, we'll deal with that in just a moment. When it comes time though, once you've got your data finalized, all you're going to do is highlight like I just did, okay, Control C, which copies, and then Control V, paste into your document.